We're back in my garage for another video.
All right, we're almost ready to go. Got everything strapped down. We're gonna see how much power the car makes. I think we're gonna add E85 just to up the content a little bit and see how much it makes on full E, because we've already tuned pump gas as well as like E44, I think we did for our middle. So we'll see what it does on higher ethanol content today. Very excited to see what this does.
Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future.
So we just got done dyno tuning the car at Nostrum. That was an awesome experience. Big shout out to them, and thank you for opening up your doors and supporting the car with their calibrators to make sure we were getting everything out of the car we could. And I know you guys are waiting for numbers, so I'll just go ahead and share them. The car made 660 wheel horsepower and just over 600 foot-pounds of torque. And I know you guys have seen similar numbers to that in the past on other setups, but the key difference here is we ran full E85. This was over E70. I think it was measuring around E72. And so, you know, we'll try to find some other gas stations with higher quality fuel and run it up to, you know, maybe E80 in the future. And I'll just see if I can get any times or numbers with that. Being able even to see that on E72, the car was able to make over 600 wheel horsepower completely blew my mind. I haven't seen that. I don't know if you guys have. But generally speaking, above E50, the cars begin to get limited on boost. This car is making 29 PSI on E72 without port injection. I've never seen that before, and this was kind of the whole point of the exercise, at least for me. You know, I wasn't looking for glory numbers or anything, but I wanted to follow my original philosophy, being that when you run a flex fuel tune, you want to be able to run any amount of ethanol you want. But the biggest limiting factor with DI setups is after E40 or E50, you don't make much more power. If anything, you start losing power because you have to reduce boost. And that was the whole entire reason I added port injection to my car, was so I wouldn't have to be limited on boost when I run full E85. So having a setup where I should basically be able to run pump E85 without any problems makes this amazing to me. This is the setup that I would have gone with if this was available when I started down this journey. Now, I think through all of this, I had 3 key learnings. The first one being that a DI setup will always be more efficient than a PI setup, and that's something that I don't think anybody can argue. One of the main reasons why direct injection even became a thing is because OEMs are challenged to meet, you know, more strict emissions requirements. They want cars to be able to get better gas mileage and stuff like that. So direct injection is an opportunity to increase the compression ratio, reduce how much fuel you use to make the same amount of power. And this demonstrates that perfectly. If you guys saw my previous dyno numbers, you saw that the car made around 640 wheel horsepower on the port injected setup. However, on that setup, the car was making around 30 to 31 PSI. Now the car is making around 28 to 29 PSI. So on 2 pounds of boost, less than what I did my dyno on before, the car's making an extra 20 wheel horsepower. Thoroughly impressed, and especially again working with the calibrators, it was really nice to know that I had their expertise on hand, working with my tuner, Doug, over at Subpart Tuning. We did a lot of work to make sure that we were getting the most out of this setup, and they gave us a couple little tricks that we could use to squeeze out more on full E85. Now I can already hear the comments, so I'll specify full E85 is pump E85, which in this case, yes, it was around E72, so it wasn't actual E85. I've never gotten full E85 from the pump, so I'll try to correct myself. Pump E85, we were able to make 660 wheel horsepower. Now, another thing I learned is that getting upgraded injectors absolutely does make a difference. I never really understood this beforehand, but I've really come to understand that running injectors that are bigger than what you need does give you additional capability with the car to make sure that you can lower your rail pressure so that you can safely run more boost with the same high pressure fuel pump. So essentially it extends the limit of your high pressure fuel pump when you're running bigger injectors than you need. And that's something that we did on this car. We actually were able to use the stage 2 injectors to stretch the legs of the high pressure fuel pump to truly see what it's capable of. And we were able to lower rail pressure and still get an appropriate amount of flow, which I think in my initial impressions video, I mentioned that at idle, the car was running lower pressure. We also run lower pressure at full throttle because the setup is safely able to do that with the high pressure fuel pump and the injectors combined. So that was something that made me nervous at first, but seeing it on the dyno, seeing how much power it made and how everything worked, logging a lot of extra injector channels to make sure we understand exactly what the injectors are doing and when we're at the injector limit, it overall just helped me understand better what the full system is capable of when you do the fuel pump and injectors at the same time. And then the last thing is, again, just knowing that over 600 wheel horsepower is available on pump E85 without port injection. I do have the low pressure fuel pump upgrade. I don't think it would be possible without it, but thankfully the RK Tunes fuel pump is holding up great and the car is having no issues. I was able to monitor low pressure system fuel pressure with the Motive Reflex and it's holding perfectly fine. So no concerns there, and I'm very happy with how much power the car made. I actually told Doug my whole goal was just to make 600 wheel horsepower, so making 660 was completely blowing my mind, because now again I can run a proper flex fuel setup, I can run any amount of ethanol I want, and I don't have to run E40 or E50 to max out my setup. I can pump full E85 or pump E85 and get the same performance at that point. So yeah, honestly I think that this just proves that a DI setup can make sense, especially for people that are stock engine and stock transmission. You're not shooting for glory numbers or anything. You just want to make north of 600 wheel, something that the engine and transmission both consider safe, even on full E85 with an upgraded turbo. If I had a bigger turbo, it would have been even easier, but either way, just knowing it's possible helps me sleep a little bit better at night. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing these results. Hopefully this answered any questions you guys might have. Stay tuned for more. We'll get some draggy numbers and stuff like that in the future, so I can show you guys how it performs on the street. But for now, I think that's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.